Welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen. It's really two programs in one. This is a series that appeals to your creative side. Food that is sumptuous stuff. How could that be? This is a program about people who want to eat healthy and reduce calories. Actually, it's about food with an aromatic quality that fills the nose. Oh, sure. But it's also about keeping my arteries clean by reducing fat. But it doesn't mean a thing if the food isn't rich and colorful. Maximize the flavor. Okay, but I must have healthy food that I can cook in minutes. I must minimize the risk. So welcome to Graham Kerr's Kitchen, where we get our heads together just for you. Well, welcome again. This time, of course, we're going to have another look at those things where we minimize risk for you and at the same time boost the flavor, because you can't do the one without the other. If you take risk out of something and don't fix it up, what it is, it's dull and terminally bad news. So that's what we're trying to do. I'll do a little simple thing first and then just expand it a little bit for you. What we call springboarding, so that you can actually see the things that I do and think, neat idea. I can bounce on that idea of his and do my own thing. That's what I'd really love to happen, if you would. All right, first things then, let's have a look at this. Creamy toppings. Now, almost everywhere that you go, I mean, you could have a slice of pie, or you could have, let's say, a muffin like this. Almost everywhere, say, look, here's a typical one here. What's that? I knew. Potato, of course. What you do, you wind up, you put things, you say, somebody comes and say, do you want it a la mode or with whipped cream? Yeah, well, fine, yes, of course. And how about on your muffin in the morning? A good spread, perhaps. And what about in the potato in its jacket? Why not just put it? Do you know, it's amazing wherever you go, there's a little bit more. Do you know that this could add up to 200 calories? And this one could add up to 85 calories? And this one, 95 calories? I mean, just one after another. So I thought it'd be pretty neat if I could actually get together with you and show you some of the ways of touching each one of these elements, but with less fat in it. Would that be all right? Okay, come, I'll show you how it's done. Well, it all has one basic root cause to the whole thing, or, you know, foundation to the whole thing. And that is something which is now called yogurt cheese or fresh cheese. I don't know if you've heard of that. But what it is you nick out to the store and you get a yogurt and you read the label and it has absolutely no fat in it at all. It's not low fat, it's no fat. And it has no gelatin or anything else to be able to secure it and make it look, bouncy and firm. Now, this has got to actually come apart in the process of straining. So what you do is you get a little strainer like this one. So it's got a very fine gauze in it, and it's held together quite firmly so that it can go through a dishwasher. And just put it over the top of a jug or some bowl, or even back in here if you want to. And then just take this is perfectly plain. It has no flavor in it, therefore no sugar in it, just completely plain yogurt. And just fill that up. Now, this particular strainer will take a full cup. In fact, if I just keep on doing that, I can actually get just about 2 cups out of it. Now, what happens when it strains, and you should just about be able to see it start now. You see how it's weeping here? You get 50% of the volume of that will be lost. Will go down into the bottom, and what's in the bottom is called whey, W-H-E-Y, and it's a sort of greeny kind of liquid, and it's got protein in it, so you could use it in a bean dish or something like that, and it doesn't taste that great, but it doesn't taste that bad either, but anyway. But in the top, I'll show you what it looks like in a moment it's done. Now, if you don't have one of those things, and you're saying to yourself, well, I don't have one of those things, by the way, put a lid on the top of it always to make sure that nothing odd drips into the top of it. You could get one of these, which is just an ordinary strainer, plastic one will do, and just one sheet of kitchen, I never know quite what to call that, absorbent paper, you know what I mean, it's just sort of picker-upper stuff. And just drop the rest of that, just put it into there, it'll work just as well, and it will drain out. Now put a plate over the top. All right, stick it in the fridge, all right? And when you stuck it in the fridge, it will be there for about 5 hours. Now, I've actually left it in the fridge gosh, how long have I left it? I don't know. I mean, I must have left it in 10, 12, 15 hours. It's not that it suddenly spoils or goes wrong at all. All right. So, bearing that in mind, that we're going to get that, I'll show you what it looks like when it's strained in just a sec. Now, here, when I'm doing a dessert topping, say for a piece of pie, then what I love to do is take some fresh fruit that's in season at the time. At the present moment, raspberries, and if they're not in season, then like these, then you can actually get frozen ones. And in the same sort of little stainless steel, so that you can put some weight behind it. Some of the little strainers, if you really pushed on it, you'd go straight through the bottom. So just make sure, if you're ever going to buy one of these things, that you can press on it hard. So you press on it until there's only seed left behind, and I want about 1/4 cup of pulp underneath. Now, I do that with apricots, any other kind of fruit that you really like. But this is nice because it's got nice tart. It's good color, too. So then I take just the product, one of those, just 1 cupful of the strained yogurt, and just drop that down into the raspberry puree. And it's that thick. You remember how it looked before? Twice as thick as that. Could be even thicker. And here, in this little shot glass, there is the most wonderful honey. Now, I love this stuff. It's fireweed honey. And if you've ever gone along, if you've ever taken a railway trip out west or Midwest, and alongside the banks in the summer, you'll see the fireweed. They're about 3 to 5 feet high, pink, they start about here and they sort of go up to about this high. And they're wonderful foraging ground for bees. And they get in there and they love it. And it's usually where there's been a fire. That's why it's called fireweed. And it's in groves of them, and the bees get in there, and it's fabulous taste. I really enjoy it. So, there we go. You stir that together, and it's a liquid. It's like a heavy cream, all right? It makes a good dunking cream, really. So, just pour that out into a little cup, and then serve that on the side. So that's the first one. It tastes great. I'm going to taste it a little later on. Okay. Now, next one. Next one is an intriguing thing because this is with fresh herbs. And so what I've got here is the actual stalk of chive, which of course is all stalk, and also the stalk of parsley. You see how that is? Not the top of parsley, but the stalks, well washed and cleaned, and then chopped up, and they have the most magnificent texture to them. All right? So those are the 2 textures of the 2 herbs. And then, same amount, 1 cup, that you've strained off. And this keeps quite well in the fridge. Now, it's about 1/8 of a teaspoonful of black pepper in there. And just a short slurp of, what's that, Graham? Teaspoonful of maple syrup. Maple syrup, if, this yogurt has bright points like that. It got like this to the flavor. And when you get maple syrup, it rounds off that little sharp bit. It doesn't taste sweet, but it's a wonderful idea. Okay, that's enough. Then, just put the herbs in, of course. The 2 herbs, crisp green, and then mix that together. Now, if you've had a baked potato in its jacket, and somebody comes, sour cream, bacon chips, and all the rest of the bit. Just forget the bacon and just think of this as a potato dish. So you take a potato and just make a little cross on the top of that. If you like, and it's hot, you can wrap it around with a cloth like this and bring it straight out of the oven and then press it around the outside. And it opens that up in the top. And it makes it the most wonderful thing to eat, actually, because it's ready for the topping. So the topping goes on there. Can you imagine what that's like? And there's no fat in that whatsoever. Remember? Non-fat. Okay, put a muffin into a toaster. There we are. Get it nice and hot. Let's put that on one side over there. All right. I can't remember which ones it goes on, but it's all right. That's the herb one. Now, this one is just an absolute knockout. If you take garlic and you just simply cut the garlic off, the shoulders of garlic, like that, you've got this opened wide. Now, you can use the same bits so you don't waste anything. And then wrap that up, put it in an oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 190 degrees centigrade. Just whack it on and ho! Good. And it's somewhat hot. And just unwrap it. And look, this gorgeous piece of garlic is just lying there waiting to be used. Just press it down hard like that, and look what happens. It squeezes out into this fine pulp. Look. And that does not, I know, I can almost hear intake of breath. Come on, Graham, you're joking. I'm going to smell from here to kingdom come. Not at all. This has the most incredibly light texture to it and taste. So you just take that, which is about 2 tablespoons full of garlic pulp, and just whack that into, there we go, into the top. And another little spoon. I've got spoons all over the place here. And some freshly ground pepper as well. And do you know, here's where I'd like you to experiment. You see, I've got a whole bunch of fresh herbs here. I've got marjoram and thyme and all that sort of stuff. Well, here I've got just a little bit of thyme and just a little bit of marjoram. Just a bit. Now, please do it just the way that you want to do that. All right? Just your way of doing it. So just stir that up together, and please yourself, please do something that you really like the sound of. And then just shoot that into the top. Now this would be, I would say, with French bread. All right? Instead of butter at the table or rolls or something like that, remember, always no fat whatsoever. Terrific stuff. All right, so we've got this one. I've got this and that one. And now, up here, come on. I know, don't ever poke a knife into one of these things. That's entirely right. Now, I just want to show you what happens to this. Here is just a little bit of the absolutely plain yogurt put into a little tub, and I put this on my table for breakfast in the morning. I smooth it out, and then another spoon, just a little drop of marmalade on the top, and that's English Seville marmalade, and smooth that out. I cannot adequately describe to you how much I enjoy that when it's done. It's wonderful. A little bit of the garlic one, I want to put that on here so as to be able to taste it. And a little bit of the strawberry bit too. I want to taste each one with you. All right, okay. So there's the muffins. Here's the rest of the mix. Have I got something that's missing, Graham? Yes, of course I have. It's that one. Fine. Presentation is everything. So I knew I'd have a good go at this one. There we are. I promised that there would be things for you for toppings, for pies and muffins and potato. And so we've done it all. Let's have a look and see the sweet one here that we've got and see what we turned up with. The sweet one, this little pink one here, that instead of 217 calories is 89. The fat is 0. Okay, remember that? 0 saturated fat. 4% of that topping, therefore on a piece of pie, is fat. And only 1 milligram of cholesterol, 36 of sodium, and 3 dietary fibers. So that's terrific stuff. Now, here is the one which is the savory one, all right? That's the one with all the fresh herbs in it. And the same one for the garlic. Instead of 89 with the sour cream topping, you'd have 31. 0 again fat, 0 saturated fat. Isn't this fun? 3%, only 3% calories from fat. Cholesterol 1, 36 milligrams of sodium, and dietary fiber 0. Okie doke. Now, quick bite. Every morning, the best time of my whole day is that combination. It's just superb. The raspberry. Good. And now this, which shouldn't be following the raspberry. Oh, that's such a good idea. All right? Now, Just think of that. That really works well. And don't forget to springboard your idea, okay? Now, my springboard on this one is going to be a pear dish. It's a dessert. So we'll look at the famous pear Belle Helene and then see what we can do to create a pear fondue. Dipping in some of this. All right. I'll show you how it's done. Good. Well, that is such a lovely taste. It's fresh, you know. And after a while, I mean, you will probably miss the butter in the beginning, but after a while, it's amazing how you get adjusted to it and how you enjoy it. Look, several years ago, Trina and I, this is a very green pear, by the way. This is a Bartlett pear, and it's a cooking pear, so if that sort of makes any difference, and it should be a cooking pear. It doesn't need to be one of those very ripe commis pears. So several years ago, Trina and I went to the Eliocabola out of Rome. It's at a little place called Frascati, which is well known for its wines, and it's up in one of the mountains, sort of looking back over Rome. Gorgeous spot. And we had a pear peeled for us by the most charming, aren't they charming, Italian waiter. And he did all of this with a silver, about 400-year-old silver knife and a little fork at the end. And he just kept on talking to us and said, well, signor, you see, and it was so good. And there was the sun was out, and the sort of La Dolce Vita people hang around, and there was a marble swimming pool. I mean, the whole thing was marble, and busts of Caesar, which looked as if they were real. I mean, not real people, but I mean, you know, real old busts. So anyway, he peeled it like this. It was very attractive because he didn't touch it with his hands at all, and then just got down there like that, and proceeded to take all the pits out. And I didn't think of it at the time because I was sort of so overwhelmed by the dexterity of the whole thing. It was about twice as dexterous as this, maybe 4 times. But it occurred to me now, isn't there a lot of trim in a piece of fruit like this? And wouldn't it be great if you could actually do something with it? So I got to thinking about that, and I thought, well, here, how about this idea? I'll put the over there. This is all the trim from just one pear. But if I just put that with another 3 pears, I've got a lot of trim. So, and it's got lots of flavor in it. It's got bags of flavor in it. So I thought, well, look, I put some cloves in it because I love the flavor of cloves with pear, and then some cinnamon as well, and maybe half a cup of brown sugar just to be able to sort of get some sweetness into it. So why don't we just do that? Shove all... No, not those. I want to cook those later. Nearly tricked myself. All the peel went into the top, and then a piece, you know, the cinnamon and the cloves, and then the brown sugar. All right. And then 2.5 cups. Come on, Charlie. Good. This is in order to save wasting water. 2.5 quarts of water, just about, all right? And put it on the heat and just turn the heat up and simmer it then. Right, so you simmer it to extract the flavor from it. So when you're actually finished, it looks as tired as that does. Now that is extracted. I mean, there's just nothing left in that at all. But what is left behind is spicy. Now, then I simply raised the heat underneath this and boiled that down until it became just one cup of shining innocence, like this. Now, that is, if you roll it around, it almost leaves like liqueur, sort of kind of bathing on the side of the... It's just gorgeous. The smell of it is slightly spiced, but the perfume of the pear is just great. All right. So then you see, after you've done that, before you boil it down, you put the pears in there. Do you understand that? I mean, I got ahead of myself. But you put the pears in, and then you cook the pears for half an hour. Right? Then you reduce the stock by half. Now, because the pear juice is in there as well as the trimming, I mean, you've got it absolutely. So that's when it looks like that. Right. So you've got 1 cup, and just pour it into a small saucepan and raise the heat underneath it so as to get it nicely, beautifully, wonderfully hot. And I've got a tablespoonful of arrowroot. I think you know me by now. I love to use pure starch and things. And about 2 tablespoons of water. And that just rustled together makes the perfect glaze. Now, you could use cornstarch, but if you did that, what you'd have was this cloudiness which comes over the top. I don't want to get cloudiness. So that's done. All right. Now, after it's been in there, after these things have been simmering away for just half an hour, they come out, and I'm going to put it on this plate because I saw it earlier on in that plate. Look at that. There are some beautiful things in this world, and you may be sitting at home and saying to yourself, really, Graham, you're waxing too eloquent about this one, but I cannot wax over eloquent about this one. This is gorgeous. That has just a vaguest little spice in it like that. I can put a knife blade in, it sinks into it, and it's perfect. Right? Now, what I want to do is I want to create a fondue. Remember the old thing that you have in the garage which you haven't used for years, and you can get it out so that you poke a stick in something and then dip it somewhere? Well, I'm going to dip it into that yogurt that I made with the fresh raspberries, the frozen raspberries in there, and thought to myself, if I dip that into that raspberry, what a combination. All right. So I cut all of those up, looks like this. This is just coming to the boil now. So take this arrowroot, move it to the side, never over the heat, stir it in, and then the moment you've stirred it in, you can get it back on the heat again, just to be able to clear and come to the top. Okay, let's get the one in the fridge whilst that's happening. They look so wonderful. Look at that glaze over the top. Everything glistens and it looks perfect. So, and about this stage, it takes that amount of time to be able to thicken up and to be perfectly ready. Now, I took these pears and then dropped this glaze on the top of them. Look at the glaze. Look at the glaze. And there, you can serve it hot if you like, but I really would prefer that went into the fridge and got cold, just like these that have just come out. All right, and then a spoonful onto the plate, and because I was looking for something that was absolutely elegant, without any question of doubt, very simple indeed, leave it like that. And then put this onto the side, and then I'll show you how this actually eats together. Right? Turn the heat off, save money. Come through and I'll show you how it compares actually with the classic dish of all times, perhaps the pear belle Helene. But first of all, here, you would lay the little fondue fork on the side with this, and then put this dunking liquid there, have your party guests all the way around it, perhaps make double the quantity, and then you'd be into it. Now, this is the pear belle Helene, which is just hot chocolate sauce, ice cream, whipped cream, and poached pears on the top. Down. All right. Now, let me show you the difference, if you'd like to see that there's a real difference here. Okay, 708 calories drops down to 224. And then fat, 25 grams of fat here, 1 gram of fat. Now, this is for dessert time, you guys. Saturated fat, absolutely 0. That means the percentage of the calories that actually come from fat, whereas 32 here, are only 4% in this dish, which is fun. Cholesterol, which used to be 59, it's not too bad really, is down to only 1, which is good, of course. Sodium is just 54, so no real problem there. Dietary fiber is up to 6, which is excellent. I couldn't think of a more intriguing way of having a dinner party that for friends that I loved, that I wanted to look after, and who would actually leave my home and go away and say to each other, not, we're going to have to run 3,000 miles to get that dinner off, but to think, wasn't that a wonderful dinner? And let's try that fondue because it was such a good idea. I'm just trying to imagine the kind of food that I would serve first. The tartness, the flavor of the yogurt is just coming through, but the raspberry just peeks over the top of the yogurt and swims around that pear, which is just tender in the mouth. Spicy. All right? Nice idea. Thanks so much for being with me once again. God bless you. Look forward to seeing you next time. Great stuff. Bye.